We'll be looking at enzyme cooperativity. Enzyme cooperativity. And we all know that enzyme catalyze biochemical reaction, right? Enzyme is used to speed up the rate of chemical reaction. Now, look at this. Some enzymes have just one binding site. And for this enzyme to catalyze any reaction, it means the substrate must bind to this active site, right? The substrate must bind to this active site for catalysis to take place. Some other enzymes have an additional binding site. That is, apart from this place that the substrate will bind, they have an additional binding site. Are we following? Some enzymes have just one binding site where the substrate will bind. Some other enzymes, they have an additional binding site other than the active site. That additional binding site they have is called the allosteric site. Are we following? The additional site other than the active site is called the what? Allosteric site. Now, something can come. Remember, where is the substrate supposed to bind? Is it the allosteric site or active site? Active site, right? But another molecule can come and bind here to this allosteric site. And as it binds to this allosteric site, it will now regulate the activity of the enzyme. Are we following? As it binds to the allosteric site, it will regulate the activity of this enzyme. How can it do that? It can either increase the affinity of the enzyme for more substrates or inhibit that. Now, the phenomenon whereby the activity of this enzyme is regulated by the binding of a substrate or other ligand to the enzyme, either increasing the rate of the reaction or reducing the rate of the reaction, is what we call what? Enzyme cooperativity. You'll be asked in exam, define enzyme cooperativity. So enzyme cooperativity is the what? Phenomenon whereby what? The activity of an enzyme is regulated. If you don't know any other thing to write, if you are asked to define enzyme cooperativity, just know once you hear enzyme cooperativity is talking about how the activity of an enzyme is regulated, right? Are we together? Yeah. But now the question is, how is the activity of the enzyme regulated? By the binding of a substrate or other ligands to the enzyme, right? So enzyme cooperativity is a phenomenon whereby the activity of this enzyme is regulated by the binding of one substrate or other ligands to the enzyme, changing the conformation. Now let me use real life example. I'm a student, assuming I'm a student and I have friends. Now that friend I have can do two things. Can either make me to read more or make me not to read again. Two of us. You see now I'm being like my friend now is affecting my output. Is it not? Now, if you want to put it in another way, we can say my friend is regulating me. That coming of my friend to me, thereby regulating my activity, either making me to read more or reducing the way I read, is called excellent what? Cooperativity. Now, enzyme cooperativity, we said is the way enzyme, now not excellent again, is the way enzyme is what? Regulated by the binding of substrate or ligand. Do you understand what enzyme cooperativity is talking about now? Now, I don't encourage cramming. Understand, fix it in your terms. They will give you your mark. So long as the key things they are looking for is there. Enzyme cooperativity is a phenomenon whereby the activity of an enzyme is regulated by the binding of what? A substrate or other ligands to the enzyme, thereby changing the conformation. And as it changes the conformation, it can either increase the affinity of the enzyme or reduce the affinity of the enzyme. Your friend can either make you read more or make you to stop reading or even drop out. Alright, so that is enzyme cooperativity. Now, just like we have two types of friends, those that can make you to read more and those that can make you not to read, we have two types of enzyme cooperativity. And the two types of enzyme cooperativity are positive cooperativity and what? Negative cooperativity. Any friend you make that makes you to read more, is that friend good or bad? It's good, right? No, on a normal case, now assuming you like reading. Now, if any friend you make makes you to read more, that friend, is it good or bad? It's good, right? That friend is positive friend, right? Good. Why any friend that you make that once you carry your book, story don't come, that friend is what? Bad, negative, right? Negative influence. Now, hello. Now, positive cooperativity, let's start from there. Remember, where the substrate is supposed to bind, is it the active side or allosteric side? Active side, right? Other ligand, other substances will bind to where? The allosteric side, right? Good. Now, if the binding of a substrate or a ligand to this enzyme increase the affinity of this enzyme for more substrates, that is, as the ligand binds, it will not increase the affinity of the enzyme, or more ligand should come or more substrate should come. That type of cooperativity is what? Positive cooperativity. Do you understand? I'll come again. Cooperativity, we are looking at if a ligand binds to this enzyme, is it increasing the activity of the enzyme or reducing the activity of the enzyme? Now, if the ligand binds and the binding of the ligand to this enzyme increase the affinity of the enzyme for more substrate, we call that what? Positive cooperativity. I'll use a real life example again. But if the ligand binds and it reduces the affinity of the enzyme for more substrate, that is what? Negative cooperativity. Let me tell you a real life story. When I got married some years back, hey, calm down. Now, okay, assuming the person was married, the person I'm talking about, and as the wife comes into the house, you know, some women, once you get married and they enter your house, nobody can visit. Even your mother will be calling, is your wife around? So come and visit. Not, to be very honest, some women are like that. The day you put them in the house, nobody can visit you again. Is that wife negative or positive? Negative. Me I go marry wife, put for house, my mother not be visit again. So, hello. So if the coming of my wife to my house, my wife is the ligand now binding to my house, the enzyme. If the binding of my wife to my house chase away other persons from coming, that is negative cooperativity, right? But now, if the coming of my wife, like my wife now, she's an accommodating person. If the coming of my wife to my house brings people keep visiting, good people keep visiting, that is what? Positive cooperativity. Now let me explain something. Hello, listen. I want to dive into something now, so listen attentively. If the coming of my wife to my house, as my wife is a lady, right? Is my wife a male? My wife is a lady. If the coming of my wife to the house, she allows only ladies to be coming to the house, is it good or bad? It's good, right? It's good. Please listen attentively. If the coming of my wife is a lady, if you are coming to my house, she allows only ladies to be coming to the house. First, is that positive cooperativity or negative? Positive, because she's allowing people in, right? Good. Hello. It's positive because people are coming in, right? Good. Now, is it positive homotropic? Listen attentively, or positive heterotropic? Now, if my wife comes to the house and she allows people to come, that is positive, right? If she allows only females to come the same sex as she is, that is what? Homo, right? So, positive homotropic cooperativity. But if my wife, though she is not like that, but if she comes to the house and she allows only male to be coming to the house, it's positive, right? Because people are coming. So is it positive homotropic or positive heterotropic? Positive what? Heterotropic. Because the people coming have different sex from her, right? Now let's relate it to enzyme. We said enzyme cooperativity is the way the activity of an enzyme is regulated, right? By the binding of a substrate or a ligand to the enzyme. Is it not? Either increasing the affinity of the enzyme or inhibiting it. Now, if we have this enzyme like this, and this is the binding, okay, now this is a ligand binding at the allosteric site there. And as this ligand binds, let's say this ligand is oxygen. As this ligand binds, it now increases the affinity of this enzyme, that the enzyme will just be thirsty for oxygen. More oxygen should come. That type of cooperativity is called what? Positive what? Homotropic, right? So positive homotropic cooperativity, I'll give you the notes, is a type of cooperativity in which the binding of one substrate leads to increasing affinity of the enzyme for that same substrate. Do we get? The binding of one substrate leads to more of the same substrate to come in. But if the binding of oxygen now increase the affinity of the enzyme for something like CO2 to be coming, what do you call that? Positive what? Heterotropic. So if it is increasing the affinity of the enzyme, you know it's positive. If it is reducing the affinity of the enzyme, it is what? Negative. If it is increasing the affinity of the enzyme for the same kind of substrate, it is what? Positive homotropic. If it is increasing the affinity of the enzyme for different kind of substrate, we call that what? Positive heterotropic. Do you understand? And please, most persons make this mistake of saying heterotrophic. It's not feeding. It's not trophic, but what? Tropic. Do we get that?